It's a hard thing to watch a man die. The heart races and then slows as it fights to survive. The body twitches, eyes flutter as the end draws near. It's a hard thing to watch a man die, especially when it could have been prevented. During his final 2 days of life, David never got off the cold cement jail cell floor. He lay there naked and alone as he gasped his final breaths.
It's a tanker and it keeps exploding, and it's a tanker and 3 cars. 1 car flipped over.
This is major. I-94 at Wyoming, the eastbound side, completely shut down because of this tanker fire. It's shut down in both directions right now. This semi caught fire about 10 minutes ago, and as you can see, it is a raging inferno.
You felt it. It's like a little earthquake or something like this.
Danny Karaki had a car up on the hoist at his auto repair shop when the whole place rumbled.
A big explosion.
You can hear the explosions. You can see the flames shoot up.
From Sky 4, a remarkable view of a tanker on fire and all of the dangerous aftermath. From the ground, cell phone video of that fire and the smoke that could be seen for miles. Ron Thomas was driving the tanker fully loaded with 6,800 gallons of gasoline and 5,800 gallons of diesel fuel. He tells his brother someone cut the tanker off, and when the tanker hit the wall, that tanker split open like a tin can.
You're not telling the truth right now, are you?
I am trying to tell the truth as much as my possible and recollection is.
You say you touch kids. When, where, how many?
They come up and hug me.
They hug you?
Yes.
They're the victims.
William Huntley worked as a substitute teacher at 18 different Monroe area schools from March of 2000 to August of 2003, when he was fired for not keeping control in his classrooms. Now the 52-year-old is charged with possessing a massive library of child pornography on computers at his Monroe home. 3 million images, making it the largest seizure in Michigan history.
How many kids have you abused?
I have tried not to abuse any.
Then he grabbed me out the car, and started beating on me.
Inkster police officer Melendez puts Dent in a chokehold and then delivers 16 blows to his head. A second officer, Zielinszewski, struggles to handcuff Dent. A third officer, Kritzers, runs up and tasers Dent 3 times, twice in the stomach, once in the leg.
He popped open the freezer, and that's when he made this grisly discovery.
It appeared to be a male who we're saying is approximately 11 years old, and a female 14 years old, inside of a plastic bag, appeared to be frozen.
This is Rick Wershey 26 years ago, a skinny kid with moppy hair, a 17-year-old boy arrested for selling 8 kilos of cocaine. The media gave him the nickname White Boy Rick, and it stuck. A judge sent him to prison for life without parole. And while in prison, he was convicted of participating in a stolen car ring from behind bars. Wershey told Local 4 way back in 1990 that he made mistakes, but was willing to make up for it by turning in some of Detroit's most powerful people.
7 or 10 police, that's nothing. The corruption runs so deep in there, it's a shame, man.
Nearly 10,000 days have passed since Wershey was first locked up. The Michigan Constitution no longer allows life sentences without parole for minors arrested on drug charges. But Rick Wershey is still here. He's now a 45-year-old man. 26 long years have passed. It's unheard of for nonviolent juvenile offenders. Even more bizarre because Rick Wershey has cooperated with police. To find out more, I drove to a prison in northern Michigan, where I sat for hours with the drug dealer known as White Boy Rick. Cameras were not allowed inside.
Should have got the key to the city of Detroit. Anyone that looks from the outside in, Kevin, they're like, wait a minute, something's wrong.
It's a bad day. Yeah, you don't want these types of things to happen, and when they do, your heart tugs.
Alerted to an officer-involved accident, it was a frantic scene for MSP along I-75 this morning as Chad Wolf's fellow troopers searched for him. They radioed in what they saw, his MSP motorcycle near the I-75 on-ramp at Dixie Highway. Following the trail, they found his taser and other equipment on the ramp. Minutes went by, and finally, Miles away at a rest area, an officer discovered him.
Preliminary investigations indicate that Trooper Wolf was dragged by the trailer for several miles.
4.3 miles to be exact. Officers then desperately called for EMS to help their friend who just endured the unthinkable.
The Michigan State Police is a very tight-knit family, and today our hearts are aching and very heavy.
He has been dangling here from the overpass, we're told, for at least the last 15-20 minutes.
And with Santa getting closer and closer to Michigan, we know a lot of kids are really worried because there's no snow for Santa to land his sleigh on.
I took 20 calls in the newsroom today. People worried sick. We sent our Nick Monticelli to talk to the foremost Santa experts and get proof that no snow is no problem. I'm sorry, Clark Griswold.
He's on a roof.
He's on a rooftop. Look at this. I love him. Nick, what did you find out about this snow?
We all know how this works, right? When Santa lands on our rooftops, he can just kind of glide on because there's snow to cushion the landing, and that he can take off real easily. But as you mentioned, when there's no snow, how does it happen? The children of Metro Detroit are very concerned. Frankly, have never had such an important assignment. It's Christmas Eve, and it's beautiful outside, so warm, the rink at Campus Martius barely stays frozen. But the smart little boys and girls here are curious. Scratch that. They're so concerned they can't stay on their feet. How will Santa land without any snow?
How will Santa land without any snow? I don't know. I'm kind of distraught about that too.
It doesn't snow everywhere, so they have to practice. You know, in LA, they don't get a lot of snow, so that's where they practice.
I heard most of the kids in LA are naughty anyway.
Ugh, I would agree.
I don't know. He has like rollerblade replacement.
I don't think he's going to land and stop though. Wouldn't he just keep going?
No, you have brakes.
Well, you've got brakes.
Yeah, anti-lock. He has anti-lock brakes for sure.
I was sure somebody outside was going to know the answer, but now I'm positive. If anybody knows, it's going to be the meteorologist. Paul, without snow, you've got to tell all the kids, how will Santa land?
I have no idea.
What? So if the fine people of Detroit have ideas but don't actually know, and Paul Gross is clueless, who can fill me in? The answer has to be somewhere. Ah, yes, the place that starts decorating for Christmas, I think around Halloween. I think we all share the same concern. I'm worried about Santa coming with no snow. Is he going to be able to land?
Yes, maybe.
You're definitely sure about this?
Yes.
Should I go find out just in case?
No.
I think you might be on the naughty list now.
No, I'm not.
Clearly, the naughty one will not know, and I'm done playing games here. The kids need to know. Santa?
Yes, sir.
I have been all over Metro Detroit.
Yes.
And I've been really trying to figure this out. When there's no snow,
right?
How do you land?
Well, let me tell you something. The weather never affects Santa Claus. Never. We have actually jets built on to the sleigh.
You have jets on the sleigh?
Yes, yes.
They have jets built on to the sleigh. And just to clarify, kids, the jets actually help the sleigh hover right above the roof. He doesn't actually make contact when there's no snow. You might not even hear him land on Christmas Eve.
Stafford complete. Calvin Johnson to the end zone, fumbles it, and it goes out of bounds. It'll be a touchback.
Is there even one more crazy variation of heartbreak for the Lions? I don't see how. Why does it keep happening? Remember the playoffs last year against Dallas? Yeah. Go back 5 years. Remember the refs stole that touchdown from Calvin against the Bears? Another heartbreaking, unexplainable loss. It makes no sense. It keeps happening over and over. It's not just regular bad luck, it's spooky bad luck. This morning, longtime Lions fan Jeff Daniels nailed it.
You feel cursed. You really do.
Yes, that must be the answer. This will take some digging. What could the Lions have done to bring this plague upon their house? We need to consult the Lions Book of Really Bad Things. Ah, here it is. So I search. The answer must be here. And eventually, I find it. On page 846, there's no doubt about it. Yes, whoa, the Lions are cursed. And now we know why. But luckily, I have the answer. Down we go into the deepest, darkest quadrants of the Motor City. I know it's here someplace. Ah, over here, there it is. Curses broken, buy one, get one free. This is the place.
Excuse me, do you think maybe you could cast a spell to break a curse? Because really nothing else is working.
Yes, he agrees. And then it happens. 60 years of torment and pain. Marty and Rod, Monty and Wayne. Fumbles and bumbles. Mistakes and bad calls. This will end it once and for all. This drought is now finished. With loss number 4, the jinx is lifted. The curse is no more.
And that's it. The curse is broken. The Arizona Cardinals come to town next Sunday, and they're not going to know what hit them. I'm Steve Garagiola, Local 4.
It goes without saying, this is the reason the fireworks got moved up tonight. We knew this situation was going to blow up. We knew this line was going to intensify, and the timing of this, unfortunately, was basically right on cue. We were looking at an area between 10 and 2, and this is what Mother Nature has dealt us. So here's what we're dealing with right now. We've had at least 2 areas where we have had large confirmed tornadoes on the ground. We are pretty much in the heart of some of these heavier snow bands, and I'll tell you, Steve and Sandra, this has come together in the worst case scenario for this system. Let's get you caught up on the latest. The winter storm warning still into effect for just about all of us, and this is until 10 o'clock tonight. The only 2 counties that are not under the warning are here in Monroe and Wayne, which are under a winter weather advisory for slightly lower totals. We're still expecting most of the snow, the heaviest of the stuff, to be here from Livingston to Lapeer County. And look at these totals that have come in just through 6 o'clock. 14.5 inches of snow in Howell. Manchester has picked up a foot. Those numbers do start to slacken off considerably once you get further south. And of course, we've got a lot of measurements in on storm pins. This is out in Howell. This one picked up 14, just about 9 inches in South Lyon. Also in Wixom, the same amount. And in Livonia, 5 inches there as well. And as we look at 4 live radar, you can see where those darker shades now just starting to pull in here to some of these east side locations that may not have seen some of the higher totals so far. So
now finally, it's time to hop to it to improve your health. New research dubbed the Hip Hop Study finds, this is just distracting, right? Finds hopping for 2 minutes a day can reduce the risk of breaking a hip in older men. Now, daily hopping for a year actually boosted bone mass by up to 7%. I can't stop. It's just I'm programmed now. No, obviously, if you already have osteoporosis, you should check with your doctor first. Otherwise, get hopping. And you know, it just makes a lot of good sense because
he makes it look so easy.
Simple. And you didn't seem to lose your breath. You're doing it on 1 foot, I noticed.
And I am.
Is that your preferred hop?
And well, you actually have to hop on the one, but it's
and
2 minutes per, right, it's 2 minutes per hip in the study. And the deal is, it increases the pressure on the hip, which increases your bone mass, which only makes good sense. It increases your core activity. If you can do it and you have the proper balance and you don't have any risk for osteoporosis, why not?
I look around, something strange. Baby, she's like a year and a half. What she doing here in Highland Park, 10 o'clock at night? Where's the parents? Where's the family?
The owner of the gas station locked the doors to prevent the little girl from walking out and called police.
I just tagged the 911 lady. I said, listen, I can't let the little baby outside. I'm gonna bring it inside with the safety area.
At one point, the toddler put 2 pennies on the counter and stared at the candy bars. With police permission, Mohammed opened the security door and brought the girl in the back. Highland Park police officers showed up moments later. You're a hero.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't do nothing.
This is Otis and Gilbert, Detroit Southwest Side firefighters putting out a pile of rubbish there as the other firefighters attack the hot spots. Earlier this evening, a couple of hours ago when this fire broke out, it was a scene of absolute destruction as 4 homes go up in flames. It was all hands on deck, civilians even chipping in. The guy in the white there, dragging the hose. He's got a vested interest. That house on the left, that White House, that's his. He wants to try and save it. It suffered some fire damage. He tells me he just got his homeowner's insurance canceled 2 days ago. This gentleman just bought one of these homes at a Wayne County auction.
I feel disappointed. I mean, I lost my investment.
and you couldn't get insurance.
No, nobody wants to insure you right here in Southwest Detroit. Nobody wants to do it.
One firefighter here pointing out they've been very busy the last couple of nights. Halloween just 10 days away, and we all know what that means in the city of Detroit. I'm sure the city is re-upping its effort to gather as many angels as they can. That is the scene in Southwest Detroit tonight. With the night cam, Tim Pamplin, Local 4.
The enormity of what the Supreme Court decides tomorrow, whether to finally take up the issue of gay marriage and say yay or nay once and for all tonight, takes a back seat to making sure all 4 of April DeBoer and Jane Rouse's children have had their yogurt. Like any other dual-career couple, there are never enough hours in the day to keep up with the demands of 4 young children. Unlike all those other couples, the fate of their family is in the hands of the Supreme Court.
It finally will legitimize our family and make us recognized as a unit.
All of this boils down to a rather profound question. What is a marriage? What is it for? Ask any 9 Americans and you may get 9 different answers. But ask these 9 Americans and the answer becomes much more than an idle opinion.
Does Michigan deny them marriage because they didn't conceive those children together?
Yes! It has been 4 years of what started as an adoption case for this lesbian couple from Hazel Park. They just wanted to be able to adopt each other's children, and it morphed into a landmark decision at the United States Supreme Court that went all the way. A 5-4 decision, gay marriage bans like the one here in Michigan, they're unconstitutional.
My last comment is, to my beautiful children, we did this for you. Thank you.
Hand in hand, Jane Rouse walked in with her 2 children. Accompanied by her father and children, April DeBoer followed. Their ceremony officiated by Judge Bernard Friedman. His ruling brought the couple's case to the United States Supreme Court.
Every citizen in the United States that appreciates what our forefathers have done and the equal protection, every one of those owes you a big debt of gratitude, and I thank you, and I'm sure they do too.
April and Jane spoke from the heart.
I promise to stand by you no matter what. I love you.
And I promise to take care of both of us forever and always. I love you forever.
And in perhaps the most meaningful moment for Jane and April,
So be my legal mommy.
their children had their own vows.
I love you forever.
And finally, the words they'd waited years to hear.
By the power vested in me, by the state constitution, and the United States Constitution, I hereby pronounce you lawfully married spouses. Mazel tov.
And then it happens. Evan picks up the gun. Dominic steps away from the table. Now both moms are stunned. Watch it again. You can see Evan casually picks up the gun and then puts it back on the table.
You should never see a gun on the table. Don't touch it, though.
The scene, Booth Park in downtown Birmingham. 9 different cameras in place to catch the action, an unmarked van nearby. That's where parents will be watching what their children say and do.
I pray that they walk away.
I think 2 out of 3 will do the right thing.
4 different families showing up today.
We'll see what happens.
Today's test, if a stranger approached, how much personal information would their child share? You see this guy? He's an undercover Local 4 photographer, posing as a photographer for a talent agency. Here's the first family, the O'Leary boys, 15-year-old Quinn, 14-year-old Jack, and 12-year-old Patrick. This is their mom, Mary Ann.
I think my middle child will be the one more apt to take the bait, if you will.
3, 4, 5 minutes. I'm just going to make sure everything's set. After I talk to the boys briefly, I tell them I've got to check on some equipment and I'll be right back. After a couple of minutes of waiting, our undercover photographer approaches.
Just took a couple pictures and you guys look really good on tape.
Thank you. Nice.
What's your name?
Quinn.
Quinn? Quinn?
Yes.
All right. And what's your phone number? So do you guys go to school around here or?
Yeah, we go to school at
We go to school, and he goes to which is right across the street.
Oh, cool. How old are you guys?
I'm 14, he's 15, and he's 12.
So our photog has names, ages, the kid's school, and their mom's phone number. Information they should not be sharing. But the boys respond well when they're asked their address.
We just moved. I can't really remember.
Our undercover guy leaves.
You sent her to our high school.
Oh. Call Mom. This is serious.
And that's when I come back along with their mom to let them know what was really going on. We were just doing a security test. So now if he went to a Facebook or he went to anywhere, now he knows what you look like and now he knows what school you go to.
Not a good idea.
I just think that they should have probably shut him down a little bit sooner and maybe got up and walked away.
We feel that as Muslim community we are targeted by two types of terrorism. One is physical, that is ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and all those criminal cults that physically are involved in bloodshed and ruthlessly killing our people in thousands and thousands. And then a psychological terrorism called Islamophobia. And that really hurts.
And that's the main reason we're having this discussion, to address the stereotypes that many have about Muslims. Imam Muhammad Ali Alahi knows it only too well. As spiritual leader in this community, his door is open to all, and his view on terrorism is very clear.
Terrorism is a crime against humanity. Terrorists are monsters, and the act of terrorism is the most sinful act in our faith.
Hijacked, yes, my religion has been hijacked, but I have a duty to stand up and show everyone by my actions, mind you, not just my words, what Islam truly is. That's why I'm a working professional, and that's why all four of us are here.
Rima is a pharmacist and working on her PhD at Wayne State. Noel is an educator, and Sam owns a furniture business. All are proud Muslims, but more importantly, they are proud Americans.
We love this country. We migrated to this country for a reason, because we know this country has actually freedom, democracy, and all of that.
We're proud of where our heritage from, but this is our country, and this is the American dream.
Like all parents, each of them worries about raising children in times like these and how to calm their fears.
Even today in the morning, I'm dropping my kid at the bus stop, and he's only almost 9. He said, "Baba, is ISIS gonna come here?" I said, "No, don't worry. We're in America. Nobody mess with us."
My daughter used to go to an Islamic school, Maya, and when 9/11 happened, the school was threatened quite a few times. So she asked her dad. She said, "Dad, we were watching the news just like every American, and we were all in tears of what's going on." And she said to her dad, "Dad, these are bad people." So her dad said to her, "Mary, I have to tell you something. If you're ever in a position where whoever they might call themselves, Muslim, Christians, or Jews, if a Muslim is doing something bad against a Christian, you stand with the Christian. If a Christian is doing something bad against a Muslim, you stand with the Muslim. So you stand where the righteousness is."
What would you like the average Detroiter to know about what it means to be Muslim in America?
We want them to know that we're God-loving, God-fearing people, and we are just like they are. We are American citizens. We love them. They're our brothers and sisters in humanity and in creation.
I want every Detroiter to know that I'm a Michigander, just like every one of them, okay? I work hard, I pay my taxes, I am very loyal and patriotic to my country, and I believe in the American dream.
We have a common enemy. Terrorism is our enemy. We have to be serious, we have to be determined, we have to be committed and protect our Constitution.
All four of them are looking forward to being surrounded by friends and family this Thanksgiving. So I asked them, what are you thankful for?
Thankful to God for so many opportunities, for the beauties of this country, for blessings in this country, for this kind of communication, Carmen, that you and all of us can have.
I'm thankful for God.
Well, I'm thankful that I know the truth, that Islam has nothing to do with terrorism, and I'm thankful that so many people are educated and they're smart enough to know the difference.
I just want to add one last thing. I know we addressed the non-Muslims. I want to address the Muslims too. Okay? I think we as Muslims now and more than ever, we need to step up to our plate and be out there. We should reach out, I guess. If your neighbor isn't reaching out to you because they're scared, because of ignorance, you reach out to them. So I guess it's a two-way street. We have to work on all levels because this is our community. America is our home, and we are American.
But the cars. Yes, goodness, the cars. They will send a Detroit heart sailing, even though many of them have their own quirks and foibles.
It is great riding in these old vehicles, but you're struck by a couple of things. Number one, there is not a seat belt in sight, never mind an airbag. Number two, in many of these rides we've had, we're surrounded by the smell of gasoline. And that's because on these old models, the access point for the fuel tank is so easy to get to that in a place like Havana, people will siphon away the gas and steal you blind.
Would you know a heroin addict if you saw one? Are you sure?
At 19 years old, I was a full-blown IV heroin user living in an abandoned house in Detroit.
I'm proud of it now and who she's become and what she's gone through because she fights.
We have counselors on hand right now. Write this number down, 313-298-WDIV. Willie shares his story with schools, parents, anyone who will listen. His message?
The best advice I could give them is at all costs, don't take any opiates.
No idea how he ended up with the allergy.
When his condition didn't improve, the Swinks say they knew it was time to say goodbye.
We had to let him go.
The Swinks say they will not only fight for more awareness of food allergies, but for regulatory changes affecting food production. That's why Local 4 is dedicating tomorrow to special coverage to help families living with food allergies.
1 out of 13, or 2 in every classroom, have a food allergy. So schools need to develop a plan on how to handle allergic reactions and also prevent exposure in the first place. Voluntary guidelines for managing food allergies in schools. Among the recommendations, schools should have a food allergy management and prevention plan.
Dr. Kim's fingers have been flying as she's answering a gazillion awesome web questions. So, Dr. Kim, let me just interrupt you for 1 second. Can you tell me about some of the common themes that people are asking about?
So a lot of parents are asking about the genetics of food allergy.
More than a third of children and teenagers who have food allergies are bullied because of them, and experts say the key to stopping it is education.
Sitting down at a restaurant and then ordering from the menu can be really stressful for customers who are living with food allergies. But there is a movement now to accommodate those customers, and the movement's picking up momentum.
It is a real stress in too many Metro Detroit homes not having enough money to pay your energy bills.
But families in this situation have somewhere to turn. Hank Winchester with Help Me Hank explains now.
Sleepless nights where I constantly worried about these bills that I couldn't be paid.
We're helping families who in this moment can't help themselves.
Some out-of-town guests are getting to stay in Detroit just a little bit longer this evening, courtesy of the Municipal Parking Department in downtown. They're padlocked inside the entrance to the Ford Auditorium underground parking structure, including that chap. He's a German exchange high school student. These youngsters seem to be taking it in stride. Detroit police getting the 911 call around about 6 tonight, saying people were stuck inside the parking structure here. Detroit police doing the best they can to keep everybody comfortable. Now, it clearly says on the doors, closes at 5 p.m. There's been some debate. Some of these people say they got here at 5 to 5. The city says, no, they got there at 6, just as the structure was being shut down for the evening.
I don't care what time it is. If you know someone's in there, these chains should not be on the door.
This Bears fan traveled from Chicago to watch the game. He's a little more philosophical about this.
A lot of things went wrong. It's just been a bad day altogether. Just keeps going. It's a never-ending struggle.
And there we go. About 2 hours later, Detroit police pull out the bolt cutters. About 20 or so people stranded here, outside and inside the Ford Auditorium structure. There we go. Hugs and high fives as these Exclusively Chicago Bears fans from around the country finally get bounced from the Ford Auditorium parking structure. That's the scene, downtown Detroit. River Night Captain, Pamplin Local 4.
Packing for a weekend getaway to Niagara Falls, Kenya Jones is thinking about more than just seeing the sights.
I'm not sure what to expect, but I am very excited.
Kenya is taking her 20-month-old son Presley to meet his brothers and sisters for the first time.
We're going for a Dibblings reunion. I've always wanted to be a mom. I knew it was going to happen, but it didn't matter to me whether it was through adoption or if I gave birth to a child.
Kenya chose a donor and became pregnant through in vitro fertilization, planning to raise her son Presley on her own.
People think it's brave. I don't think of it as me being brave. I just think of it as me wanting to have a child. And that's the process that I decided to go through to have a child. So.
She knows she's not alone, developing relationships with the moms who use the same sperm donor.
It's almost like a sisterhood, like we're in a sorority, a special club, a special mom's club.
Kenya is making this journey for Presley.
I want to make sure that he knows where he came from, the process, and the siblings that he has, and so they can all become lifelong friends.
Bags packed, Kenya, Presley, and his grandparents fly from Metro Airport to Buffalo. Make the quick trip across the border to Niagara Falls, to a very special park. It's a place for children to play and parents to talk. 6 moms, 7 children, a family reunion for the first time. It's nerve-wracking and exciting.
Just wow. And I'm not alone.
I was intent on having a child. It was something that I always dreamed about.
Holly Brown and her partner, Annette Jasko, are moms to 2-year-old Griffin. She recalls the moment she inquired about other children from the same donor.
I said, can you tell me how many other live births were from this donor? And she said, there are 17 other births. 18. Griffin is, 8, it makes 18. And I was at work and I was almost dropped the phone. I couldn't believe it.
Holly and her family made the trip from Rochester, New York.
Annette and I both agreed that we had an obligation to get in touch with folks and make sure that Griffin had some connection with his, what people are calling dibblings.
We were sort of on the fence at the beginning because it was all new, right? Like, there's other kids out there that have the same donor. But then it kind of warmed up to the idea, and then we saw the pictures of the kids. And
Natalie Valet has 2-year-old Emmett and 5-month-old Maggie with Jennifer Havens. They too are dibblings of Presley. A common trait these moms watched for on the playground, being social.
Griffin, out of the box, was a social kid. That's probably the biggest similarity so far.
We just talk about how their personalities, watching them grow and develop, and trying to see, if they have the same eyes, the same nose, the same type of personality.
I thought it was cool just to see, that they really looked alike. But for me, it was just nice to see their faces, like to see, okay, yeah, that's true. That's what feature of Emmett is actually from the donor.
I'm a little bit overwhelmed with the process. I'm sort of figuring out how it feels to me. So no. We're telling our story. I think this is a really important story to tell.
I want Presley to know his story, the journey that I went through, and to let him know that there was other moms out there with similar journeys. And as a result, he has siblings.
During Lent, Catholics give up some things they enjoy. Meat on Friday is one of them. But when churches are frying on Fridays,
batter up, Uncle Frank, can you make some more?
Seafood is no big sacrifice.
The food is excellent. The price is great, the atmosphere is wonderful, and we're here with a good group of friends today from Ford Motor Company.
The kitchen at St. Francis of Assisi on Detroit's west side emits a tantalizing aroma. For $9,
you get fish, you get coleslaw, French fries, a homemade cake, coffee, fruit.
30 orders in 2 minutes. The people who come here, they're not only Catholic, from all religions they come here.
The coleslaw sauce is a strictly guarded secret.
Oh, I can't tell you that. That's under penalty of death. I'd be in trouble if I did that.
Oh, come on, you can just tell me.
No, that's very secret. They'd be very close. I didn't find out till 15 years after I started working here.
It's a frying frenzy, I'll tell you. Look at all these ads in the Michigan Catholic for fish dinners all over Metro Detroit. And each church tries to have a special twist.
Thank you, sir. Very kind.
St. Isaac Jogues in St. Clair Shores offers home delivery.
We like doing it. I mean, we have a lot of parishioners that are shut-ins, a lot of people that are handicapped that don't like to come out in the cold weather.
The church delivers about 60 fish dinners every Friday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Have a good day.
The guys are always great. No matter who comes, they're always great.
Meanwhile, back at the parish, customers can pay extra for private dining rooms. The expanding menu now includes shrimp tacos.
When we introduce something or try a new product, we have a meeting every month, and we'll put it across the board. We'll literally taste test it, and we'll vote on it.
St. William in Walled Lake throws one of the biggest fish dinners in Metro Detroit.
How's everything here? Excellent. Need any more fish?
The numbers are growing 3 to 5% every year. iPads help the devout quickly devour.
It goes wirelessly and prints out by the kitchen. People being health conscious, we've added baked salmon, baked cod.
St. William serves up to 1,100 people. The Archdiocese of Detroit estimates that over 100 churches in southeast Michigan serve 50,000 meatless meals every Friday.
We have a really faithful clientele locally, obviously. And we also get people coming from, they do fish fry tours now, and it's a big Catholic thing to do.
None of these churches could do it without an army of volunteers.
It's not the dinner itself. It's working together as one and then making other people happy. That's gratifying.
Especially knowing the proceeds help with church building repairs, local food pantries, and other charities.
St. William Fish Fry, we've got the best.
This is St. Isaac Jogues, and we are the best.
This is St. Francis de Assisi, and we have the best fish fry.
God only knows which one is right, but all of them are doing a blockbuster business on the Fridays of Lent. I'm Roger Weber, Local 4.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
It's a tanker and it keeps exploding, and it's a tanker and 3 cars. 1 car flipped over.
Inferno on I-94.
It struck into the median in between. It went over it and it wound up going into the westbound lane. And obviously caught on fire.
Fuel ignites into flames on one of the area's busiest freeways. Incredibly, there is no loss of life, but the damage is throwing a wrench into the evening commute. And topping our news at 5, you're looking at live pictures from Sky 4 above the scene near I-94 and Wyoming. As you can see, there's still quite a lot of cleanup to be done.
And as we hit the 5 p.m. hour, if your evening commute takes you through Dearborn, you need to look at what is happening here still on eastbound I-94. We're glad you're with us. It has been closed now since a tanker burst into flames near Wyoming Avenue late this morning.
And in the minutes ahead, we'll have live reports on the efforts to clear the freeway and get it back open, the best ways around the mess, and the trouble it caused for many Metro Detroiters who were stuck in traffic behind the wheel or behind the wreck as well. Let's begin with Sean Lay and the timetable for getting the freeway back open. Good evening, Sean.
It's going to be a while, Carmen. Big time damage to the freeway down behind me. Just got an update from Michigan State Police. Right now, they're getting conflicting statements from the drivers involved in this crash. Much more investigation into what caused the crash will have to be done. Behind me here, the work continues. You can see big wreckers here trying to hoist up. And just in the last few seconds, they hoisted up the trailer, the tanker here that was fully loaded with diesel fuel and gasoline. Now, just a charred mess. 2 Boulevard and Trumbull cranes now hoisting it off the freeway. So we're getting a better idea of the cleanup here. And now tonight at 5 o'clock, we're getting a much more clear idea of how badly I-94 through this stretch was damaged by the heat caused by this massive tanker fire. From Sky 4, a remarkable view of a tanker on fire and all of the dangerous aftermath. From the ground, cell phone video of that fire and the smoke that could be seen for miles. Ron Thomas was driving the tanker fully loaded with 6,800 gallons of gasoline and 5,800 gallons of diesel fuel. He tells his brother someone cut the tanker off, and when the tanker hit the wall, that tanker split open like a tin can, splashing fuel ignited by sparks. Doug Thomas says his brother saved the driver, whose car was pinned to the front of the tanker.
His hair's burnt on the back, his arms are burnt. I'm gonna go. I'm terrible right now.
Another driver's car behind all of this was splashed by fuel and by fire, and it went airborne.
It struck into the median in between. It went over it and it wound up going into the westbound lane. And obviously caught on fire, and we had to extinguish that and the semi-trailer at the same time.
What's miraculous to everyone out here is that no one was seriously injured, but other drivers behind all of this had to dodge the fiery debris. Now the job is to clean up the fuel left in the tanker and on the freeway and assess just how much damage was done to this part of I-94. Here live, MDOT just giving me an update on how long I-94 and the eastbound lanes will be closed. Here's the deal. The heat actually broke up part of that new surface down there, so it's going to have to be resurfaced, but they're only going to shut down 2 lanes. The highway will not be shut down while that work continues. As soon as they get all this stuff cleared out of here, they're going to do an assessment and start talking about resurfacing here 2 different lanes, shutting 94 down to 1 lane from Michigan Avenue, which is right around here where I'm standing, down to I-96. So they're going to have to resurface this part, but won't, Devin and Carmen, be closing I-94 once that work begins. It'll be down to 1 lane. Back to you.
Now, Sean, you mentioned that there was a car or vehicle that cut off the tanker. Did the driver get a look at what that car looked like, or even did anybody get a license plate number?
Couple things here. That seems to be the car that may have been tangled up with the tanker in all this. Now, the brother of the tanker driver says it was a clear cutoff. The tanker ended up hitting that car, and then that tanker driver ended up getting out. And while the tanker was on fire, he had just moments to help the driver that he hit, the driver that he says cut him off. But Michigan State Police says they're getting mixed signals here, some mixed information from both of those drivers. Luckily, both were not injured. That's the good news here, but they're getting different stories about who exactly did what. In fact, Michigan State Police tells me the evidence at the scene is conflicting with what both drivers are telling them right now.
All right, so the investigation continues. Sean, thank you for that report.
Let's turn things over now to Ashley Barrissey here with a look at the best ways to get around that stretch of I-94. It's a critical piece if you're coming from the airport, that's for sure, Ashley.
Absolutely, but we do have to be thankful the fact that this is the westbound side that's open, because we're going to see more traffic leaving the city for the rush hour drive, not as much traffic on that eastbound side, but nonetheless we are dealing with heavier traffic volumes, and this is going to cause a concern for a lot of drivers that are traveling in between Dearborn and Detroit. So that eastbound stretch of I-94 is closed off at the Southfield Freeway. That's the closure point to Wyoming. Westbound I-94 is open, but 2 lanes are blocked at Michigan Avenue. It'll squeeze down there. If you're going to be traveling east or westbound, you can use Michigan Avenue or I-96 to get around that. And I want to show you one of our 4 live traffic cameras along, this is actually I-94 right near Rotunda. And this is the westbound stretch that is actually closed off. You do see traffic that's coming on from Wyoming, but that eastbound side is westbound side getting by fine, the eastbound side is closed off. So you can see here that we have just that light traffic volumes from the traffic that's coming on from Wyoming. Otherwise, you're going to be dealing with bumper-to-bumper traffic on some of the other areas freeways, and that is because a lot of the traffic is having to figure out different ways to go. I-75 at Gratiot, where it connects to 96 and I-94, you're starting to see the heavy backups because I-94 traveling westbound will squeeze down to just a lane or 2 right at Michigan Avenue. Otherwise, you can see the traffic flow map here. This is the closure point along I-94, and that red stretch right here is where it's closed off. But if you're going to be traveling the Southfield Freeway trying to connect to I-94, we're starting to see some orange in that area, meaning traffic is starting to slow down because they don't have anywhere to go if you're wanting to travel along that stretch of freeway. Otherwise, Michigan Avenue is starting to slow down a little bit, but Michigan Avenue and I-96, the best detours, and we're going to continue to update you throughout the 6 o'clock hour. Back to you.
You know, even before there was I-94, you could take Michigan Michigan Avenue to Chicago.
Sure, right,
So
right.
it's still there. You know, thankfully no lives were lost in this explosion. Many lives, though, were impacted.
And many were caught in the huge traffic backups that we've been talking about, but others literally felt what happened. Jason Colthorpe, live with some of the stories we're hearing from the drivers who were there. Jason?
Absolutely. And Devin, you know what's just happening right now as we speak? They're loading the rest of what's left of that semi onto a flatbed and just about to haul that out. You can see the charred remains as it's being led away. But yeah, like you said, around this area, there are lots of businesses, gas stations, restaurants. And when this accident happened, so many people heard it immediately and then seconds later felt those explosions one after another. And then, of course, that fire that could be seen for miles became an instant camera phone moment.
You felt it. It's like a little earthquake or something like this.
Danny Karaki had a car up on the hoist at his auto repair shop when the whole place rumbled.
A big explosion. By the time I get to the overbridge right there, overpass, which is 94, right, and I see the semi-truck blowing up. I think it's full of gas.
Martin Smith was about 50 yards away pumping gas when the tanker blew. Moments later, he was rolling his own video.
We could hear the explosions. You could see the flames shoot up. They were probably from ground level. They were probably about another 25 foot, so I guess about 50-foot flames coming from the freeway.
Same goes for many other people working on Michigan Avenue.
And what were you thinking at this point when you had it going?
I hope everybody was okay. At first I thought it was a gas station.
It left thousands of drivers stuck on the highway, including this man whose day was turned upside down.
I have a meeting at a grocery store here, and my whole day's kind of messed up here. They had the whole highway blocked off. I don't even know why.
Well, Pat, it was because a tanker blew up, but the question now remains how, and you're seeing what's left of it now. How did this blow up? We're hearing how the accident may have happened. One restaurant had a bird's eye view because of the security video. We have gotten our hands on that. We're going to show that to you at 6. It's amazing video of this truck on fire, screaming down the highway. We'll tell you the story of the restaurant, how they stayed calm and tried to take care of all of its customers and get them out safely. That story in the exclusive video coming up on Local 4 News at 6. Guys?
All right, somebody had their cameras rolling.
Ready, yeah.
Jason, thank you for that report. Our coverage of the I-94 tanker explosion is just getting started. Coming up, with all of that fuel that spilled onto the freeway and into nearby drains, what's the potential impact to the environment, including our water?
Also, what we've learned about the trucking company that owns the tanker, and some are calling it a miracle that no one died or was seriously hurt. How's that possible? Well, you might be surprised by how many things went right today in this emergency. All right, now, more breaking news tonight, and this takes us to Trenton, where police are investigating a homicide for the first time there in a decade.
A man was found inside a condominium on Daniel Drive in the Westwood Association. Kimberly Gill is live with what we know so far. Good evening, Kimberly.
Good evening, Carmen and Devin. Yeah, I wish I had more information for you at this time, but police really aren't telling us a whole lot. I can't step out of the way and just set the scene for you and show you what's going on right now. You can see that there's crime tape right at the entrance here to the Westwood condominiums where this happened on Daniel Drive. Several police cruisers from the Trenton Police Department are still here on scene. They are down. It's hard for you to see, but down here at one of the condos where the garage is open there, and they have been there since mid-afternoon. There have been police cars here since midday investigating the crime scene. Here's what we know. Police say a 65-year-old man was found dead here at Westwood Condominiums. It's located on Daniel Drive, not too far from West Road in the city of Trenton. We don't know the man's name nor the conditions surrounding his death, but police do confirm it's being investigated as an apparent homicide. At this time, police say no one is in custody, and they have not yet released a description of anyone they're looking for. Neighbors who we spoke to say it's a quiet area. People keep to themselves, and they're surprised something like this would happen here. Now, we are working hard to try to find out more information for you. Again, as you can see, police still here on the scene conducting their investigation. They're trying to find out information, and no doubt they have to contact the family before they can say anything to the media. We will, of course, keep you posted right here on Local 4 News and on our website, clickondetroit.com. Reporting live in Trenton this afternoon, Kimberly Gill, Local 4.
All right, thank you, Kimberly. As she said, it hasn't happened in 10 years.
Exactly. Well, despite all this breaking news that we've been following today, we've not forgotten about the weather. Gorgeous, huh?
Ben, where are you?
Over here, just getting ready. Temperatures, of course, today hit a gorgeous high in the mid-50s. We'll fall pretty fast under clear skies tonight, but can we get back there again tomorrow and the next day? And then we'll take a look at your weekend forecast coming up.
I'm Mara McDonald. We've got 3 people stabbed and a pregnant 11-year-old girl kicked in the stomach. Detroit police have a heck of an investigation on their hands.
New at 6.
Sex, money, and the feds. Tonight, a young woman and her parents accused by the feds of trying to extort more than $2 million from a local businessman. The latest on the investigation. Also new, cancellation controversy. An important program at a local school for the hearing impaired is being cut. What the school is saying about a plan B.
All right, let's get you updated on our breaking news. If you're just joining us, the stretch of I-94 in Dearborn is still shut down as crews clean up after this massive tanker fire you see on the left side of your screen. Right now, the eastbound lanes of I-94 remain closed at Greenfield. Eastbound is closed. 3 vehicles were involved in this morning's crash, and that included the fuel tanker that sparked these explosions. Luckily, no serious injuries, and now crews working to clean up the fuel from the tanker and assess the damage to the area. They're already saying they're going to have to do some resurfacing there. MDOT says one of the eastbound lanes may not be destroyed, so they still need to get the stuff out of there, the debris, so that they can look at the condition of the roadway. We will keep you advised on what's happening here. Stay with us here and at clickondetroit.com. All right, 3 people stabbed, plus an 11-year-old girl who is pregnant. 11-year-old girl who is pregnant, kicked in the stomach.
I know, a lot to think about here. Just a horrible night inside a house on Detroit's west side, and now multiple investigations. Let's get to Mara McDonald. She's got the latest on the investigation. Mara, everybody is expected to survive, right?
Carmen, Devin, here is the situation. Detroit police are expecting that the 3 people who have been stabbed will recover. However, there's a question as to whether that 11-year-old girl who is pregnant, whether her unborn child will survive this.
Take a look. You can see the broken window. Police telling us the suspect in this case busted through the window and started stabbing and kicking. This is 34-year-old Leandra Bryant's home. This picture of her was taken just 2 days ago. The man in the photo, who has not yet been charged, is the suspect accused of stabbing her. And the 16-year-old boy in the house, as well as a 12-year-old girl. He kicked the 11-year-old girl who is pregnant in the stomach.
I was supposed to come get him, and instead of me, I was so concerned with my own personal life. Instead of taking that moment just to come get him, man.
Edward says his brother texted him yesterday asking him to come to the Monica home and pick him up. He was no longer being allowed to stay here after Child Protective Services discovered the 11-year-old in the house is pregnant. Edward says his brother is not the father of that 11-year-old's unborn child. What sparked the stabbing last night is not yet clear, but the suspect is in custody. His brother wishes he'd picked him up when he started texting him yesterday afternoon.
I feel like I failed him. I should have reacted more quicker in the situation. I had to work. I worked 2 jobs. I tried to give him. Man, I just feel like I failed him. I was trying to do all the best I could for him.
Detroit police have that suspect in custody at this point. He was released from prison just this past February. We are at Detroit Police Headquarters. Mara McDonald, Local 4.
All right, thank you, Mara. Well, tonight investigators are looking into what caused the fire that gutted a male strip club that's been on Detroit's west side since the 1970s. Watts Club Mozambique has been on Finkel for more than 3 decades. It was destroyed this morning when a fire ripped through the building. Firefighters battled flames for hours, but the building was a total loss. No one was injured. The cause of the fire is now under investigation.
All right, Ben's turn now, and it's just lovely outside today, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can put up my snow pants? You think?
Don't put me in there
through the weekend
yet.
anyway.
Yeah. For the foreseeable future, we've got nothing but just beautifulness in the next 7 days. We're 10 degrees above average. With those highs today, we hit 55, believe it or not. And we didn't have to deal with the fog. The clouds were gone. The sunshine was out. I mean, it was just picture perfect. Still is, as a matter of fact. 54 is where we sit at both Metro and City Airport. Pontiac is one of the cooler temperatures, and they're hanging out at 48 degrees. In fact, we'll jump back and show you what's going on here for temperatures across the area, because these are pretty nice all across the state. You got to go all the way up to the Sioux to get the 30s, and also in the northern or upper peninsula, 39 there in Marquette. Temperatures just a little bit milder out here on the other side of the lake, but there's not a lot as far as precipitation goes to look at here. High pressure is settling in. There's some very light showers that are starting to make it into the west part of the upper peninsula, but that is not going to affect us. In fact, our next chance of rain is actually going to be coming from the south, and that's not going to be until we get into the upcoming weekend. But we'll talk temperatures here first, because with the clear skies tonight, higher pressure settling in with those lighter winds, that is a setup where we usually see our temperatures pretty much crater, and that's what we're going to do tonight as those numbers get down to the upper 20s and low 30s, so we will go below freezing in some locations tonight. Won't last very long, though. By the time we get towards 9, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, those numbers bounce back pretty quickly. Not quite as warm as what we saw today, but still around average for this time of year, mid-40s for the most part. There'll be some slightly cooler numbers here towards the lakes on the east side. We're getting to that time of year where that starts to play back into the forecast, but again, it's a good problem to have. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 28. Skies will be mostly clear. There will be a little bit of patchy fog out there, but it's not going to make a whole lot of difference as we head towards the drive time tomorrow morning. High temperatures at 47 with mostly sunny skies, and again, cooler on the east side compared to what we'll see inland. Numbers over the next 7. They look pretty good. 52 will come back there on Friday. As far as the weekend goes, maybe an early shower on Saturday, but it's going to be light. Most of the weekend is going to be dry. Temperatures mid to upper 40s, and then we'll hit 55 again on Monday. Starting to see some wind play into that forecast early next week, but it's March. And it's 50, and it's sunny.
And we're not complaining.
We have been due.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, Ben.
Thank you, Ben.
Still ahead, someone stole a whole lot of cheese from a Michigan-based pizza maker.
Oh.
We have the latest on a Hungry Howie's truck heist just ahead.
And new information is coming in on the deadly crash of a military helicopter off the Florida coast. We've learned one of the victims is from Michigan. Back in a moment.
11 service members are presumed dead after an overnight chopper crash off the Florida coast during a Special Forces training mission.
And we're just learning from our sister station in Grand Rapids that one of those missing Marines is Sergeant Andrew Seif from Holland, Michigan. Our Jay Gray has the latest. Jay?
Good evening. As you can see, there is still a heavy, thick fog here right now. Witnesses say it was even worse overnight, and that likely contributed to the tragic accident here.
Wreckage from the UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter began washing ashore early this morning.
Tragic. It was just a shock to hear it this morning.
Just devastating. You don't have words for it. Just think of the families involved with this. It's hard on them.
11 families waiting for official confirmation that their loved ones died when their helicopter crashed in dense fog during a military training exercise Tuesday night.
We always hold out hope anytime there's a crash. I know we have an incredible search and rescue team.
7 of the men on board were part of a Marine Special Forces group out of Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. The helicopter and its 4 Army crew members were part of the Louisiana National Guard, a military community also now suffering.
My priorities are search and rescue for our soldiers and the Marines, and secondly is to take care of our families.
This morning, President Obama called commanders at both bases to express his condolences to the families, service members, and the community of the 11 presumed dead. A community now preparing for the worst after news of the tragic accident.
You don't know if it's somebody you know. Your heart goes out to them. This is a big military community. Everybody pulls together.
Pulling together to mourn those lost and support the families they left behind.
At the time of the crash, military officials say the unit was practicing insertion and extraction missions using small boats and the helicopters to move teams in and out of target areas. In Navarre Beach, Florida, Jay Gray, Local 4.
All right, Jay. Well, still to come, was it all about the money?
Well, hear what new Miami Dolphin Ndamukong Suh had to say today about leaving the Lions. Bernie has that just ahead in sports.
It's been nearly 2 years since Paul DeWolf, the U of M medical student, was found murdered. And today, the final defendant said his final words.
I took it to trial because I had to prove that I was innocent of murder.
But this defendant wasn't expecting to spend the rest of his life in prison. We'll tell you why coming up on Local 4.